Hi, my name is Adrian Jimenez and I'm taking SDI FTH 223-53109. Today's date is September 8, 2024. Week 4 assignment on a hammer fire pistols course. My instructor is Dr. D or Captain D. We're going to be talking about the mass driver compensator. That is by Strikes Industry. Alright, so compensator functionality. Compensators are meant to either attach by a barrel or in Strikes Industry for people in California or other states that are against having threaded barrels. They came out with an option with a guide rail attachment. So what it's going to help do is going to help mitigate rise and felt recoil. It's going to help redirect some of the gases coming out of the muzzle of your barrel when it's coming out this end or going out this way. So if you attach a muzzle compensator, whether barrel or guide rod, they're ported to help redirect some of that energy to help with recoil or felt recoil. So use a diagram and illustrations to support your explanation. So I looked up GT website, and like I was saying, just a plain barrel, everything's coming out, all the force is coming out, everything it's coming out the barrel, it's coming out. That's what's going to create the felt recoil. With a compensator on, you have your energy coming out with your projectile, and then you have energy going up to help level your pistol. There, that's going to assist with the felt recoil. Okay, brand specific compensators and operation. So there's several different branding that I can show you. Just a few along with the course information. And I'll talk about these. Was just a few that I just plucked off from the internet. Faxon is one brand that charges $85. Velocity charges $110. PMM charges anywhere from $230 to $360, and that is with a Glock barrel included and already attached. And then SAR Firearms uses their version of a barrel compensator, and those are $100. And so all these four that I just mentioned are all threaded barrels mounted compensators. So I'm going to show that my firearm is empty. I'm physically looking down the barrel, making sure there's nothing loaded. Magazine well is empty. My magazine is empty as well. And I'm going to show that I have no ammo on my workstation. Okay. So, so the optional, provide an in-depth analysis of the operation of Strike Industries mass driver compensator, detailing how it differs from others on the market. Use the provided compensator and your firearm separately to demonstrate the key features of the operational mechanics. So, Gen 3, the Strikes Industries, the mass, what they went with is to accommodate states that don't allow threaded barrels. So they utilize a guide rail. Their guide rail is longer so that it can attach on the other side of the compensator. They include a longer guide rail, a longer recoil spring, a spacer, some blue Loctite, and another shorter spring and a attaching hardware. And this is what it looks like on the box. So you have your recoil spring, the extended guide rod, that spacer, the compensator, the shorter spring, and the nut. And then provide blue Loctite and an Allen wrench to tighten this down. All right. So with that being said, I'm going to take this apart, add the mass driver compensator, and I'll bring you back once it's done. Okay, so I'm going to go once again physically inspect my barrel to make sure there's no ammo. Visually looking it inside the chamber and down the magazine well. I have no magazine. Magazine's empty. Once again, there's no ammo on my station. I added the mass driver. So it was a little difficult trying to get the recoil spring, getting it pushed back far enough for me to get the guide rod through the front of the slide, and then trying to hold it while I installed the compensator, then the small spring, and then attaching, putting a little bit of Loctite, and then attaching the compensator, the small spring, and then the nut. And this is the nut right there that you tighten up nice and snug, and then you can back it up and then retighten it to help with the distribution of your blue Loctite in your threads. All right. So this is a Glock 19 Gen 3, and so I'm going to perform that it slides and it seats it properly, fully, that the compensator doesn't interfere with the slide. So I sent it forward. It's locked. I'm going to pull the trigger. I'm going to take the slide, bring it to the rear. While I'm holding the trigger, I'm going to go and do the reset. It resets. Pull the trigger. I'm going to let go of the trigger, reset it, and making sure that my trigger can reset on its forward. So there he goes. It's reset fully. All right. I'll put my empty bag, make sure that it locks to the rear and doesn't impede. I noticed that it's a slightly wobble on the mass driver. Now if it was attached to the barrel, on a threaded barrel, there wouldn't be any side play or wiggle room. I know some of the PSAs, the way the slide is cut, it doesn't sit flush with the driver, so it has, even when it's fully seated, like mine doesn't move, but on some of the PSA daggers I noticed that there was some end play. Pros and cons. Okay, so my pro will help with felt recoil and keeping it on target faster, so you can acquire your target in a faster mode. Vice if you were without it and it's shooting and then having it assess your target. It has a little bit of added weight. It makes it longer so that it helps with that recoil. The ports redirect all the extra gases up, so it helps keeping it leveled. being that it's a uh, guide rod connected, it, I'm not 100% sure how that's gonna fully operate. I mean, with the Glock 19 Gen 3, since it fits perfectly with the slide, I probably won't have that many problems with it twisting and turning. So it'll be perfect alignment. But some of the other, like the PSAs, that they the ends of the slides, the way it's beveled and shaped, it has way too much play. So I don't know if that would hinder the proper usage of this compensator. Now, if it was attached on a threaded barrel into the onto the barrel, then yeah, it would be perfect because it's gonna move with your barrel. So the barrel creeps up when it locks to the rear, so that like tilting the the compensator is gonna go with it. It's not gonna have that tendency to maybe possibly hit the top, being that it's a guide rod. That's, I think, for the con, that would be some of the cons would be that not having a tight tolerance fit. One, the slide is to the rear, and then yeah, that'll be the. I think the price range is not. It's not that bad. It's the same as any other one company that I mentioned. Let's see. Customer brings so a customer brings a SAR B6 or CZ75 and a box of aftermarket components, including a Strike Industry mass compensator designed for a Glock 19. The customer wants to fit the compensator to their SAR B6/CZ75. Can this be accomplished? Conduct a detailed feasibility study to determine whether the compensator can be adapted to fit the SAR B6C75. Consider multiple options such as adapting the compensator to mount to the barrel, to the existing guide rod, adapting the compensator to mount to the slide. So, in searching whether or not the Strike Industries Glock 19 Gen 3 fitting a CZ or B6, they utilize a threaded barrel compensator, and there was no compensator for the guide rail. So I have my CZ75 that was provided as well. So that mass driver would not work on this this firearm because it's closed off. No, there's nothing. It's empty. So, as I was saying, the front of the slide for the recoil is captive inside, so there's no protrusion of your recoil, so therefore the mass driver would not operate efficiently, and it wouldn't be able to mount. So I would explain that to the customer that would not work on this type of hammer fire pistol. I would suggest that they go with a threaded barrel compensator, but since we're in California, like I said, we're unable to have threaded barrels. Cost benefits, I already stated that earlier, being that each company, each branding has their set price on their specific, and they're pretty much around the same price depending on the design. Whether you get a quad or circle, round, micro, full size, barrel, slide, ported, to help with the mitigation, porting a barrel. Those are all different choices and have their own set pricing for that as well. So it would be up to the customer what they're willing to, how much they're willing to go and spend, and what the options they want. Conduct a return on investment analysis, discuss the economic feasibility and the value added to the customer's firearm in terms of performance enhancement and market value. So when it comes to value, I guess it all depends on what, if the end result was, were they doing this to better mitigate recoil, or were they doing this to upsell it? And that's where it's a sticky situation. Not everybody is wanting the aftermarket add-ons that the prior owner thought it was cool to install. Not everybody wants that. It's just like a car. Not everybody, when they go to buy a used car, are going to purchase a car because of all the aftermarket stuff. They're buying a car because they need a car for reliability, travel, to get from point A to point B, and they're not trying to look at it like if it had rims or the latest and greatest stereo. The customer wants to pay what their budget is. So all the aftermarket stuff, it's nice, but now you have to find a market that an individual that is looking for something like this, you know, with a compensator or a ported barrel or lightning strikes. I mean, like lightning cuts on the slide to help lighten it. Replacing all the springs. Do they want that? Are they gonna just want it for just going once in a while plinking, or do they want it for going for home defense, or concealed carry, or competition shooting? So you got to find that niche of where you're trying to sell it to, and if you're reaching the right market, it might help with the resale value of the firearm, because you added some stuff that somebody was going to put on themselves. Now they don't have to, because it's already done for them, and all they have to do is now just take it out and purchase it, take it out and see how they like it. They may tweak it, they may change something. So that's all up to the customer base that you're trying to attract. All right, I utilize Google for some of those searches. I use Faxon, I use Velocity, PMMM, SAR Firearms, GT for that diagram, the lectures. Those are some of the stuff that I use for this assignment. Well, thank you and have a great day. Bye.